Hi there, you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling, and this is the show I produce in Sydney, Australia, where I speak to leading guitarists and guitar figures from all around the world. Thank you so much for joining me for episode number 130. Now today I'm talking to Darren Hart, professionally known as Harts, who is an acclaimed musician, singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, music producer, and killer guitar player. Over the years, Harts has established himself as one of Australia's finest young talents, composing, recording and producing 3 studio albums, 2 EPs and a live album, securing 3 number 1 most played songs on Australian radio station Triple J. His 2014 long player album Daydreamer drew praise from none other than Prince, who noted that Harts reminded him of how he was at that age. Harts ended up jamming at Paisley Park after those comments, which is pretty amazing. He was also awarded the GQ Magazine Breakthrough Artist of the Year award in 2016. He collaborated on a song with the Roots and Lenny Kravitz in the same year for the Olympic Games. And with his live Triple J performances going viral, his premiere on Conan O'Brien's digital channel Team Coco, and having songs on the UK Premier League Match of the Day has seen him exposed to millions of listeners around the world. Pretty amazing for a young man still in his 20s, and Darren joins us today to talk primarily about his Harts Plays Hendrix run of shows. We also talk about the Cricket World Cup, which he's involved in the opening of, and we talk signature strats, fuzz pedals, and some hints about some upcoming solo music under the name of Harts as well. It's a great interview. It was a pleasure to meet Darren, and let's jump straight to it. Darren Hart, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Man, great to have you. One of the big things we're talking about, obviously, is going to be the Harts Plays Hendrix shows, the tour that starts up in March, runs through to June in Australia, which looks amazing from the footage of some earlier shows. And if we get time, I'd love to talk about some other aspects of your career and the Cricket World Cup and all sorts of good things going on.
Yeah, for sure. It's all exciting stuff. So yeah, I'm keen to talk about it.
Awesome. So Hendrix, what does Hendrix mean to you as a musician, as a singer, as a guitar player?
Hendrix was the main reason, one of the main reasons why I got into playing guitar. When I was in high school, I was playing drums a lot. I was doing drum lessons at the school and things like that. And all my friends were guitarists. And I didn't really have an interest in it until I saw some videos of another guitarist named blues guitarist Buddy Guy. I saw some videos of him playing, and I saw one specific video of him playing, and he was like being real flamboyant. He was like jumping off stage, and he was playing in the audience and behind his head and screaming and yelling. And I was like, this is amazing. I was like, I hadn't known about blues music or anything. Like, I was just, I grew up on listening to a lot of hits music and pop music and things like that.
Sure.
So that was my first introduction, and then I started delving into blues music, and then obviously from Buddy Guy I discovered people like all the blues all the blues legends from Muddy Waters, all the Kings, and then eventually got onto Jimi Hendrix. And when I heard Jimi Hendrix for the first time and his stuff, I heard all the live stuff and his Woodstock performance, and all that was my first kind of delving into Hendrix. I was blown away. I was blown away mostly by the freedom of expression that he had that I hadn't quite seen in other people that I admired, like Buddy Guy and B.B. King and stuff. He felt like fearless in his playing. He felt like, he wasn't afraid of taking the guitar where it hadn't been before, or making bad notes, or making just noise and stuff. And I really liked that. I really liked that kind of boldness that he had in his playing. And that's something that I resonated with immediately. And I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. So from then I kind of was hooked onto Jimi Hendrix's music. Obviously I studied it a lot more in depth after that, as I was, getting more into music and being a musician. But my first initial impressions was, I love this guy's freedom when he plays, and freedom of expression with his art.
Sure, awesome, man. Were you already playing guitar? So you said you were playing drums. Were
I
you
was
already?
playing drums. I got into guitar because of that video from Buddy Guy
Yeah.
and
Okay. Yeah.
discovering Jimi Hendrix. But I wasn't serious about it, like I was just doing like I think my older brother for like a birthday present one year got like a nylon string, like little 3/4 guitar. And we had that in our house for probably about 6 years before anyone ever touched it.
Uh
So
huh.
it was just one of them things that was always sitting in a corner.
Yeah.
And then I started playing drums, but we didn't really have the space in our house to have the drum kit. So I would just play at the school after school and anywhere I could. But we had that guitar, so I thought, oh, might as well, you know, see if I can, learn this thing while I'm doing nothing. And I'd be playing like that nylon string acoustic while my brother was playing video games or something like that. So I was just chilling on the
Yeah.
couch playing guitar. So I was doing that for a good few years, probably 2 or 3 years, playing every day, just for fun, just figuring out things or watching videos of Hendrix and trying to imitate like what notes he was playing and stuff. Because I didn't have like a teacher or anything like that. I just didn't really know how to get into it. So I used to watch like videos of blues guitarists and other things that I was really inspired by to try and figure out the notes they were playing. And that was kind of my learning experience in getting into the guitar. And then after a while, I bought my first electric guitar, um, which was a copy of a 335 kind of model,
Okay.
um,
Cool.
by Samick. I think it was about $300 at the time or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd never really spent money on a musical instrument before, so that was a big deal for me. So and then once the electric started, obviously it just kind of it just went from there. Once you get your hands on an electric guitar,
Yeah.
there's,
Absolutely.
there's no there's no putting it down. So I took it a lot more seriously after that.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Do you remember what you're plugging in your Samick to?
Yeah, I had a small Behringer like practice amp. I think it was like a 15-watt solid state. It was the cheapest one you could get at the time. It was
Yeah.
just like a
Yeah.
little Behringer thing, but it had like 99 effects on it and stuff. Those ones.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it had like the delay and the reverbs, and also had like distortions and overdrives and choruses, and it had basically everything I needed at the time to like get excited about playing guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All the tones, man. Good to go.
yeah, so so me and my older brother as well, he got into it at the same time as I did, just because we had one in the house now and it was just something cool. So we used to play with that amp a lot, and I, I hope my parents still have it somewhere actually at their house.
Uh huh.
They might still have that amp somewhere. But yeah, it was nice. Like I didn't really know about gear and things like that then. I was just doing it for fun. So
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
cheap Samick guitar with a Behringer was all I needed to play at that time.
So you've gone on and you've built this amazing solo career. You're in a position where you've got critical and popular attention and acclaim. So why? And we might talk about some of that stuff if we can. But so why at this stage? Why put a Hendrix show together?
Well, this was something that was always in the back of my mind for at least a few years. Um, well, the way it started was I'd play like Harts shows, and I'd always finish the show with, say, a cover or something, just to kind of give an audience something special. And a lot of the times it was a Hendrix cover.
Uh huh.
And after the shows, I used to always get people come up to me and be like, "Oh, that Purple Haze was sick, or that Voodoo Child was sick," whatever I played.
Yeah.
And they used to request. They used to be like, "Oh, you should do like a whole show of that kind of stuff. That would be cool to see you like play like a bunch of Hendrix stuff." And I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah, that could be cool." And I put out a video on YouTube of just me playing a cover of Purple Haze. I think this was probably like 5, 6 years ago now.
Uh huh.
Um, and that got like so much more attention than anything I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And everyone was like really, really into it. And they were like, "Man, it'd be awesome to see you play a Hendrix show." So from that time, it was in the back of my mind, and I was thinking, yeah, I want to get around to this, but I put it on hold because I do want to focus on my career. As you said, like I wanted to do my own albums, I wanted to be my own artist and really focus on that. So I put a lot of time and energy into that. And always in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, when I have a free chance or an off period between album cycles or something, I'm gonna do this idea. And then that was further encouraged by I was playing a show in New York a couple of years ago now, and someone told me that Jimi Hendrix's nephew was going to be at the show, and and I thought, oh, this is amazing time to drop in a Hendrix cover. Um, and I thought, oh, it might be in bad taste. I don't know what the rule is here with that sort of thing. So, but I did it anyway. I think I played. It was either Purple Haze or Voodoo Child, and he was there, and he came up to me after the show and he just congratulated me on everything, and he let me know why he came down to check me out and what he'd be hearing about me, and he said that he really enjoyed that last cover, and then I said to him right on the spot, I'm like, yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. I'm thinking about doing like a Hendrix kind of tribute show, not an imitation in a way, but
Yeah,
more
yeah.
my rendition of the stuff.
Hmm.
And he was like, yeah, definitely. I think that would be something cool. And then he gave me his number to give him a chat about it. So after a while, I chatted to him about it, and we talked through ideas about putting this together and you know incorporating what we can. And obviously, with the Hendrix estate, it's very hard because he runs it and he works with his mum on that, which his
Hmm.
mum's Janie Hendrix who runs it.
Yeah.
So so it's very hard with licensing and things like that for all that kind of stuff. But they've been very supportive in encouraging me to take on this project as well. So it was a perfect opportunity. It was pitched to me for 2019 last year to do it, and I accepted one show, the Melbourne show, and then it kind of spiraled from there. Everyone was requesting it, as well as venues were like, "Oh, we'd like to take on this show for 2020 and stuff." So it turned into a tour pretty naturally. So as I said, like it was in the back of my mind to do. I was just waiting on timing, and with other things I've got on, maybe we'll chat about those a bit later.
Sure.
2020 might have been, you know, a difficult period as well because there's a lot of stuff on this year for me as well. So
Uh-huh.
hopefully everything goes well. But yeah, it's going to be a very busy year with this tour included.
Sure. That's cool. That's cool, man. I see like a real conceptual similarity between you and Hendrix too, in that he was interested in writing great, accessible rock and pop tunes, um, just filled with fierce guitar playing, and I hear that in your solo stuff too. So it looks to me like a real natural fit, and obviously you've had that passion for Jimmy's music from very early on as well.
Yeah, for sure. I feel it. I feel it's natural. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not something that is forced. I'm not trying. I'm not like doing this as anything for money or anything to do with trying to progress what I've got. I'm
sure,
I'm
yeah,
very happy releasing Hearts music and doing my own thing. But this was something that I'd literally been thinking and planning for a while. And before people's kind of, because like I'd always be promising people stuff, like they'll be like, oh, you should do a show like this. I'm like, yeah, next year for sure I'll do it. And then like, oh, next year for sure I'll do it. And then that kind of goes on
yeah, yeah.
and goes on. So it just felt like 2019 and 2020 were good years to put it on, and it was very natural. And I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to do it and have the support from everyone around me to do it.
That's cool, man. You seem to have an affinity with Jimmy, yeah, kind of tones. I was listening to your Live in Brisbane album, which I love, and man, the fuzz on that record, your guitar tone on that is mammoth fuzzy. Not Jimmy, maybe fuzzy. It's your own thing, but it seems like you can dial into the Hendrix kind of tonal world pretty comfortably as well.
Yeah, I think so. That fuzz tone, it's become a bit of a hilarious staple in a way in my music, because it came about by accident. How I got that tone event like initially, and it was so outrageously fuzzy that it kind of just stuck. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like, well, no one's going like this far with it, like
Yeah,
and stuff. So it kind of stuck, and I got used to it. It's very hard to control though live because of obviously feedback issues and all that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
issues you have with having that much gain on something.
Sure.
So so yeah, that was kind of how the Harts tone developed. But I was just always interested in the sound of fuzz, and the sound that I'm going for with the Hendrix shows are kind of somewhat in a middle ground between the two. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not trying to recreate exactly Hendrix's rig, like his tone and his thing, but it's very much closer to Hendrix than it is to what you'd hear at a Hearts show. So it's a lot more bluesier, a lot more fuzzier, not fuzzier, as in a lot more traditional fuzz, like that maestro
Yeah.
fuzz
Okay.
kind of sound,
Yep.
fuzz face kind of sound.
Nice.
It's that kind of sound with obviously an Octavia and things like that Jimmy used as staples, and I just think really fits the music so well. So you kind of have to have those when you reinterpret his music, and a wah pedal, obviously.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, staying somewhat close to basics as well. We're doing it all as a three-piece band, so kind of like the experience was. There's no additional, behind the scenes things going on. It's
Mm-hmm.
just straight up what you see on stage is the sound. Um, and then we're throwing in a few little surprises that I can't really talk about in terms of the show
Okay.
theatrics of it.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, it's pretty it's pretty much a middle ground from what people can expect from seeing a Hearts show, and then what they can think they would expect from seeing a Hendrix's music being performed. I don't know if tribute show is the right word to use for it, because it's not exactly a what people would consider a tribute
I
show, but
understand. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's Hearts playing Hendrix. That's what's on the
yeah,
poster. So we want to see you shine through all this material as well, which I'm fully seeing on the videos. Hey, I noticed you're playing on some of the videos. There's two main strats you seem to be playing. One of them's the flipped lefty, because you're a right-hander, of course, but it's a 70s style CBS strat. You're like a strat guy, yeah? That's your go-to for
yeah.
most of the time, yeah. Did you notice, when you're playing the flip strat, obviously the bridge pickup is now reversed and the string tension's maybe a little different on the headstock. Are you noticing much of a magical thing happening when you got the flipped guitar, or is it you're still just playing a strat?
I noticed that the flipped bridge pickup does sound different.
Uh-huh.
Um, I didn't think it would sound that different until I played one of them.
Okay, wow.
Um, and it does sound different to my ears. There's more like aggression, like more bite in it for some reason. Um, and I really liked that. The thing that's hard to play though, or the thing I didn't think about, was the fact that you lose access to the upper frets because of the cutaway,
Sure.
um,
Okay. Yeah.
because it's upside down. So anything beyond like the 15th or 14th fret,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't really reach. Um,
Yeah.
so you kind of have to adapt your playing style. I
Yeah.
worked a way around it and stuff, and my hands are pretty big, and so I can reach all the frets, but
Yeah.
it's nowhere near as easy as just going for that 21st fret
Yeah.
bend,
Yeah.
as it is on a normal right-handed one. So that's something I didn't think about. Another thing was the all the tone and the volume knobs. You're constantly knocking them with your strumming hand,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
so the Melbourne show that teaser was filmed off, which was the only show we've really done so far, was like halfway through the songs, I noticed that like all my volumes and tones were on like one or two, and constantly rolling off, and I
Yeah.
I didn't think about that beforehand, and I was
Yeah.
like, damn, why? And then after the show, I was like, oh, I've got to figure out a way to like glue them in place constantly
Okay.
on 10.
Yeah.
So that's the only way around it, because I can't figure out how to move my wrist around in a way or bend it that feels natural to me still, but
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not hitting those things.
Yeah.
And then I went back and watched Hendrix stuff, and I was like, he for surely would have been doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he would have got around the issue, particularly with the jackets he was wearing as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. The
of constantly
sleeves and everything. Yeah. Yeah.
rolling his tone and volume knobs down. But yeah, but anyway, that's something that I have to learn to deal with now, and I'll probably have to figure out a way to just make them way more rigid on that strat.
Sure.
Um, But yeah, that was just a nice little touch for that show because, as I said like before, it's not supposed to be like a tribute
Yeah, of
imitation
course.
kind of
Yep.
thing. But I thought it'd be because I saw it advertised in a music shop in Melbourne, and I was like, oh man, that would be like a fun little thing to add to the show. So it's like, oh, I kind of got to get it. And those are pretty rare to come by. Those I
Uh-huh.
think they're early '90s or maybe late '90s ones. Fender did a run of them, specifically left-handed strung right-handed guitars, and they're really good. So they're really rare to find, particularly in Melbourne or in Australia. So I picked up that, and I thought that would be a really good addition to the show. But I'd fully intended to use my Squire, the one that everyone kind of has associated with me, that painted
The
one.
painted one? Yeah, okay. Yep.
Um, I was um, I was fully keen to use that for the whole show, but then I can't use a vibrato, sorry, a tremolo bar with that Squire because it feels like it's gonna snap the bridge every time I do. It's not like the model of Squire I play as the Squire Affinity, and it's kind of pretty cheap. It's not really that well made and stuff. So every time I try to use something like that, it just feels like it's gonna snap, or the strings will no way stay in tune. So
Uh-huh.
so that was a good addition too, because like obviously with the Hendrix dive bomb stuff and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
um, it's such a good effect to add to like these type of songs. So I needed a guitar that I could do that comfortably with as well. So that's why I picked up that white one.
Yeah, cool. Cool, man. Hey, funny thing, talking about strats, when the Diesel signature series strat came out recently, through Fender Australia, I just insted on the podcast page, what other Australians should get a signature strat? A lot of people said Ian Moss. Yep, fair enough. And your name popped up a couple of times. What would a Heart signature strat look and sound like?
Yeah, man, I'd love to. And I've actually talked to Fender about it
Okay,
because
yep.
I was I've been involved with Fender in the last couple of years, and they've helped me out with stuff. And I was in their new campaign for their Ultra series recently, the new Fender Ultra
Oh,
Strat.
awesome, man.
Um,
So cool.
so I was the talent in the campaign videos, which is amazing. But yeah, I'd love to have a signature Strat. It would probably have to be a Squire though, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's the problem, just because I think now that I've kind of branded myself as a Squire player, a lot of people really like the fact that there's a guitarist out there that's still playing a Squire and playing all these huge gigs and stuff with a Squire, and it's a stock Squire. There's nothing done to it.
Oh, okay. I was going
That
to ask. Wow, that's cool.
No, it's straight up stock. It cost me about 200 at the time. This was like 2012 or something. And yeah, there's nothing done to it, and there's something motivating about that story. And I didn't realize it until people started telling me that, like, they bought a Squire Affinity because of me, because they saw me playing it, on some huge gig I was playing or something like that, and they inspired them that you don't need the best gear to get into guitar, and particularly a lot of young kids as well as and people like early people that are early getting into guitar, and they're wanting to start. It's inspiring to see someone out there that's not using a $4,000 guitar. It's a cool look to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
someone. And I remember when, because I grew up like really poor, coming from India to Australia and things like that. We didn't have a lot, so when I got that first like Samick guitar, or even that nylon string I was playing, that was I think just from Target or something. It was just one of those cheap ones. Um, if I was to see like a guitar hero of the day, like I don't know who it was at that time, it was probably like Jack White or something. If I was to see someone like them playing a guitar, and to be honest, Jack White used to in the White Stripes play like a cheaper model guitar. That was inspiring to me, because it was like, wow, I don't need to be able to afford a $4,000 guitar with a full Marshall stack and all these boutique pedals just to get the same feeling of freedom of expression that's playing the guitar than people out there. So in bringing the whole point back, like, and this is what I spoke to Fender about, was like, I'd love to do a signature model, but I'd love to keep it on the more affordable end.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah,
I'd
cool.
love to be one of those guitarists that makes something that's more for everybody, and
Yeah,
particularly
gotcha.
for people that can get into, yeah, and get into guitar, because there's not a whole lot of, young guitarists coming about anymore. So I don't know if the future is a guitar future for music. So I would like to play a part in encouraging that as much as I can, making an affordable guitar around the $400 to $500 mark, or however cheap you can get it. The problem is that you can't do that for limited runs. You can't do, you know, it costs a lot of money, and there's not probably a lot of margin in doing Squire stuff or doing stuff, you know, um, cheap like that. And I think if you're doing signature stuff, I think it's all custom shop, is it, or is it? I don't know how they do all that, but
Yeah, I think
that
I think
that
there's different levels. Yeah, there's definitely the custom shop stuff, and then yeah, some of it becomes a big production. But I understand what you mean with a smaller run. I'm not sure how the diesel one worked out for Australia, for example.
the diesel one was amazing, by the way. Like I
Yeah,
played
yeah.
that one in the Fender thing. I was like, damn, this is really good.
Uh
But
huh.
yeah, I'd love to do. I'd love to have a signature range, and maybe one day I can do it with Fender. But yeah, that was my thing. Was just like I'd like to really be the guy that's helping people get into guitar, rather than just catering towards the people that are able to afford the best instruments.
Sure.
If that
Yep.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's heaps cool. Hey, another great gig coming up in February. You're opening up the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup, and
That's right. Yeah.
you're on the like the theme song for the tournament, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that came about another real natural kind of organic thing, because not many people know that I'm into sport, and obviously, for being of Indian background and stuff, my whole family's into cricket. It's very, very big in India. So the opportunity came around for a bunch of artists in Australia to pitch, their rendition of a song from the '70s called "Get Up and Dance." I think it was like a one-hit wonder or something.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay.
And so they had a bunch of artists. This is what they've told me. They've had a bunch of artists, record the versions and send it through, and they kind of just, wanted to go with the best one and the one that fit most with their campaign, for the use in the ads, as well as on, in their campaign marketing. Yeah, pretty much their campaign theme song. And yeah, they picked mine, which was amazing. They were like, "Yeah, we really like this version. It's very funky. It's got that Prince kind of vibe as well, which is something that I love, and very very into creating." So they ran with my version, and since then they thought, oh, it'd be an amazing opportunity to get you to perform that song at the opening ceremony. And I thought, wow, that's an amazing opportunity. And I've only ever done a handful of stadium, gigs before.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I jumped at the opportunity to be involved in something like that. And it's the opening ceremony for the pretty much the year of cricket, because the women's World Cup is in February and
Yeah.
March, and the men's is in October
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
November. And they're opening up the year of cricket with one opening ceremony. So it's going to be exciting. You know what I mean? It's going to be me playing probably that Squire to however many thousand people in a stadium, and playing the song that I arranged and performed on, for the campaign theme song. So
Yeah.
I'm
That's
really
cool.
excited about that.
That's awesome. I think the opening match is Australia versus India, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
right. Yeah.
So that's a nice little representation of you. As you said,
Yeah.
born in India, came out here. What, you were 2 or 3 years old, I think.
Yeah, I was just a child, but
Yeah.
yeah, it that's what I mean. Like it's just a natural thing, because once they heard the music, and they were like, yeah, we want to go with Hart's version. Then I went in for a meeting, and we just talked cricket. Like I talked cricket with the CEO for a while, and we're just talking about this and that and stuff. And as I can see that I was genuinely interested, I think that's when the opportunities started coming about. And it's so it's so typical of the music industry, and particularly the entertainment industry, to work like that. It's all about you know natural relationships, things that build organically rather than forcing things.
Sure.
So it was just a perfect fit for someone like me to be involved in this campaign.
Yeah, excellent. Fantastic. Darren, I need to let you go, but can I ask you one more question? Is there any, once you get, I don't want to say get through it, you're going to love doing the Hendrix shows, and they're going to be a huge smash. The World Cup's going to be amazing. I'm a huge cricket nut, so it's very rare I get to talk cricket on this podcast, so I'm super stoked to meet you. But is there any plans for any new Harts music coming up at some stage?
Just because you've been nice, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you know that there is.
Yeah, awesome.
There's more than just plans. I can't really reveal more than that, but it's and it's probably sooner than you think, to be honest.
Okay. Excellent.
I have been working hard in the studio for pretty much the whole of last year and stuff. So the Hendrix stuff will take up a good portion of the year, but that doesn't mean that's the whole year. So yeah.
Sure. Excellent. Oh, that's great to hear. Well, mate, congratulations on all the stuff coming up, all the stuff the career you've built, which has brought you to today, and what's about to come up. And can't wait to hear more of what's ahead for you.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to chat. Really appreciate it.
All right, there you go. My conversation with Darren Hart, aka Harts, coming soon to a venue near you to smash out some Hendrix and some new music later this year by the sounds of things. So hopefully we can get Darren back on the show and talk more about that. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Remember, you can head over to guitarspeakpodcast.com where you can access all of our previous interviews or find out links to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcaster things. There are links to buy a t-shirt, to our social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and there's our contact details too if you want to shoot us a line about anything we're doing on the show. Love to hear from people. In fact, we've been receiving a lot of love for the show lately. Thank you so much for your support. As I tell people, the best way to support the show at this stage is to share episodes, get stuff out on your social media, let people know what's happening, and that helps me spread the word about the Guitar Speak podcast. All right, time for me to go. I've got a roast in the oven, no joke. So I'm going to attend to that. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Matt Wakeling. You've been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. I'll catch you next time. Bye now.